Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, on the phone this morning. So, of course, we are gearing up for the Super Bowl in New Orleans. And 55 years ago this year, the Kansas City Chiefs won their first Super Bowl in New Orleans at a different locale. Is Tulane Stadium even still in New Orleans?
No, it's been torn down. They've kind of reconstructed it. It's on the Tulane campus, of course, but they've turned it into fraternity houses and all sorts of things. But, yeah, that's where it was, Tulane Stadium.
And obviously it was a little bit earlier in the year than it was where we're at now, right? I think it was like right after the first of the year when they played that game.
I remember it so very well. I was at KY3. It was my third Super Bowl that when I had been here, the Packers and the Green Bay Packers and Oakland Raiders had played in the one before. Then they had the Baltimore Colts and the New York Jets playing. And then this one with the Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings. And the Chiefs, of course, were a huge underdog going in. Interesting day because it was kind of cloudy and, in the 60s, and they had showers, and they had a tornado watch down there and all sorts of things. But the real tornado was Kansas City. They came in and they kicked Minnesota Vikings all over the place. It was just a great win for Hank Stram and the Chiefs.
Speaking of that legacy team, and really something we as Chiefs fans held our hat on for a very long time before this new era has begun with Coach Reed, Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones, everyone on that team, as a matter of fact. But they're going to definitely have some representation from that team in New Orleans on Sunday, right?
The official representative will be Willie Lanier.
Love it.
Great linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs back then. Willie, a very, very successful businessman in the Baltimore area. Went to Morgan State University, came out and played in the AFL with the Chiefs. And Willie Lanier was the linebacker of all linebackers. He could play the game, and he will do the representing of Kansas City down there. Should be very nostalgic and a lot of fun.
And I can't wait to see it all. And again, the coverage begins at noon with Ned Talk on your home for the Kansas City Chiefs, 104.7 The Cave.
I mentioned that, Mike. That's where we are. We'll be at 12 noon is when we're going to do the show. That's a good 5 hours ahead of time, but that's all right. We'll have some good content going.
So we had the former clam bake last weekend. Now where are the pro golfers this weekend?
They are in Scottsdale, Arizona for the Phoenix Open. Now, Scottsdale's part of Phoenix, and this will be at TPC Scottsdale. This is the Waste Management Phoenix Open. This is that rather unusual golf tournament. Doesn't have it's an $8 million purse, which is perfectly all right. But it's one in which the crowds are encouraged to really get with it, yell at the players, so forth and so on. So the fans usually have a pretty good time at this one.
It is a lot of fun, and again, while we're getting back into or getting punched still from winter, it'll be nice to watch some warmer weather this weekend. Where are the MSU Bears playing today?
They are playing at home tonight. They're at the Great Southern Bank Arena. They'll play Northern Iowa, and that's a tip-off at 6 o'clock. It's the most unusual time, 6 o'clock, but they have it scheduled for regional TV purposes at that time. So 6 o'clock starting time, the Bears in Northern Iowa. The Bears hoping to capitalize on their first conference win of the year after 11 straight losses. Can they do it? Sure, they can do it. Now, will they do it? That's what we'll find out.
Speaking of college basketball, number one team in the country was able to be on the court last night. Were they able to keep that space at the top?
They're a really good team. It's Auburn, out of Auburn, Alabama. And Mike, I like this team. They're really, really good. They beat Oklahoma 98-70 last night. They're a team. They're a relatively older team. They've been around for a while, been together. But they kind of act like their coach, Bruce Pearl. They love to play the game. They have a lot of fun out there playing. They play with the crowd quite a bit. I think it's a really good championship level team. Whether or not they can sustain that for the whole year, well, we'll find out. But they're the number one team in the country, and they can play, and they're entertaining to watch.
Speaking of entertaining, it hasn't been that great of a year for the St. Louis Blues. Have they gotten any better as of late?
Actually, they are just about the same. They lost last night. The Blues lost to the Edmonton Oilers last night, 3-2 in overtime. So St. Louis does get 1 point in the standings for a shootout. But the fact is they are having trouble sustaining any kind of winning margin. 2 games under 500 now, and gradually slipping in that the hope for berth in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But again, there's a ways to go. It's still early February and 2 more months in the regular season, and maybe the Blues can right the ship. But right now, no, they're struggling a little bit.
Well, Ned, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Always a pleasure, Holmes. Always a pleasure.
K Sports is brought to you by Taylor Group All Chevrolet, Buick, GMC in West Plains and in Waynesville.